Hey guys, before I go anywhere into this video, I just want to take a quick moment and say thank you and hello to my friend Merle, who has a channel over at Rambo Tweety One, and he made me this awesome Malcolm Reynolds Firefly shirt. Loving it. Thank you, Merle. So that out of the way, you're probably wondering what this nonsense going on the TV behind me is. Actually, you probably know what this nonsense going on the TV behind me is. And the reason it's back there is because it's movie review time, kids. And that's just a really standard, nice way of saying it's time for me to rant about bad comic book movie. So, basically, for months leading up to the release of the new Fantastic Four movie, I saw the promotional stuff, I read all the behind the scenes stuff, and I went around telling all my friends and family and people on Facebook, this movie is going to be crap. This movie is going to be horrible. And, most people agreed, and there were the voices of reason that said, well, you can't judge a movie until you give it a chance. And I said, no, you can. You absolutely can. That's what trailers are for. But yesterday, I decided, you know what? In the interest of fairness, I'm going to take that under advisement. I'm going to bite the bullet, spend the $1.40 whatever to rent it out of Redbox, so that I can say I actually watched this movie and I have an opinion on it. And it didn't let me down. It wound up being just as awful as I thought it would be. So I'm just going to rant for a couple minutes on this. Sorry, I had to stop for a second there. The changes on the screen back there were making the light in the camera fluctuate, and it just was bugging me, so I had to fix that. Anyways, so the biggest thing I take away from this personally is that it wasn't a disappointment for me, because I had the expectation that it was going to be bad going in. So I can't say that it disappointed me. So there's that. That's good. But I want you to understand that I don't just think it was bad because I thought it was going to be bad all along. My viewing of the movie was not tainted by my preconceived notions. I'm going to actually go over the things that were bad about it. So one of the big things for me was, and this is for any movie, not just a superhero movie, not just a bad adaptation of superheroes that I love, but any movie, this movie was dull. It was dull as a bowl of jello. I mean, just drug, and when it did get to the quote-unquote exciting parts, it was still dull. The story was not engaging at all. I'll admit that the original Fantastic Four films with Jessica Alba and Chris Evans were not perfect films. Some could even argue they weren't even really good films, but they were at least somewhat exciting. Like, stuff happened in a way that made you go, ooh, stuff's happening. This movie does not have that. Even in the moments where you're supposed to be engaged in the movie and on the edge of your seat, you're not. You're just kind of like, wow, okay, keep moving. And I think another one of the big problems was the special effects. I don't know if it was because they tried to gear the special effects towards 3D. I really don't know, but they're not good. I mean, They are in no way any better than the special effects from the last Fantastic Four film, which was made 9 years ago. And I know we've come at least a little ways since then in technology for special effects. And this movie, judging by special effects, could have been made 10, 15 years ago. I mean, The Thing looks horrible. The special effects on The Thing are not believable. They're not remotely realistic looking at all. I mean, there are a couple of shots where, you know, he's against a green screen, or the character is in a green screen shot already because the background is CG, where he almost looks like claymation. Like, there's a couple shots where, you know, he's moving and talking, and I'm like, wow, that looks like claymation. Looks like stop motion. So it's just bad special effects, and the special effects on Reed's powers, the stretching powers, look in no way better than they did in the last film 9 years ago. If in some spots they look worse. Like the musculature and skin texture and stuff on the scenes where, like, it's a shot of like his bare arm stretched, maybe looks a little bit better. Like, everything in the suit, like when he's in the black space suit, anytime he stretches, it just looks like a cartoon. It looks worse, I think, than the special effects for Reed for the last film. It just looks like they used Photoshop or something to stretch out the image and then bring it back, and it looks bad. And yeah, and they made no strides at all to do anything new or innovative with these powers, like imaginative, cool little things with Reed's stretching powers or Johnny's heat powers. Nothing. They just kept it standard fare, and it just made their powers boring, honestly. And yeah, so there's that. And then my favorite thing to hate in this movie is Doom. His character before he becomes Doom is bland as toast. He has no personality. He's barely noticeable in the film. And then when he gets his powers, he's not Doctor Doom. I can't say I read every Fantastic Four comic growing up, but I read enough to know that Doctor Doom was not Dark Phoenix. He didn't have godlike telekinetic powers. But in this film, that's Doctor Doom. He gets... I'm not going to worry about spoiling anything for you guys, because if you watch this movie, it's already... I mean, that's spoil enough. I can't say deserve what you get, because I watched it. But, I mean, I'm warning you right now, so yeah, if you watch this and then watch the movie, yeah, you deserve what you get. But yeah, in this film, he gets overtaken by this substance from the planet they go to in this other dimension, and it like infuses his body with all this insane power, and like his look, like they don't really explain. I guess it's kind of part of his spacesuit from when they first got there, got melded onto his skin, so it kind of looks like a mask. And then his body's just like glowing with these little veins of this green energy. And yeah, this substance gives him the power to move things with his mind and make people's heads explode by thinking about it. And that is not in any way, shape, or form Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom derived his powers from science and technology. He built himself a suit of armor that could fire blasts and things like that, and all kinds of cool technological things, but he couldn't make your head explode with his brain. That's ridiculous. And then he's like, when they're back on the planet for the final scene, he's raising up huge columns of stone out of the ground with his mind, and it makes no sense. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Doctor Doom. It has nothing to do with anything, as far as I could tell. The plot device for the danger that the Earth is in during the final battle just comes out of nowhere. There's no explanation. There's no, I mean, he's mad because they left him there for a year, and I mean, that I kind of get as a motivation, but there's no explanation for why what he's doing works. He just raises stone pillars out of the ground, and it creates a portal using his powers from our world to his, and starts destroying the Earth by draining the energy out and sending it over there, and it's just nonsensical gibberish. And the final battle, again, is boring. It's not exciting in any way. They do nothing new or intriguing with it, and it flip-flops from Doom can do anything with his brain and be godlike and just stomp them into the ground, to Reed runs up and wraps him up or grabs him with his stretchy arms and tugs on him, and he's just like, oh, down I go, and he falls off a cliff. It's like, well, hold on a second, you could fly a second ago. You were tossing people around with your brain, and you just get mildly tugged forward and you fall almost to your death. What is that? So I don't know. It's pure and utter just nonsense. There's no rhyme or reason or thought to any of it. I was really disappointed when this, I mean, not now, like I said, but when this first came out, because I was actually kind of impressed with Josh Trank with his film Chronicle that he's famous for. I really liked it. I thought he did some new and thought-provoking things with the power of telekinesis, with superpowers and all that, in like a real-life setting. I was like, that's kind of cool what he did there. And he did nothing even remotely like that with this film. He did nothing new. He did nothing smart. It was just like, they said, hey, do you want to do Fantastic Four? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he just made it whatever he wanted to make it. And I think what it boils down to for me is this, I have a hard time being mad or disappointed when watching it, because to me, the feel I got watching it is this is not a Fantastic Four movie, which is why, I mean, when I first heard about a lot of this, and I heard Michael B. Jordan was cast as Johnny Storm, I, like a lot of people, was like, well, that makes no sense. I mean, it's not a race thing, but he just doesn't fit the part. He's not Johnny Storm, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people were angry about the fact that they cast a black guy as Johnny Storm. I don't really care. But I thought he wasn't right for the part. I thought he didn't fit whatsoever. And now, having watched it, it makes no difference to me. I don't care any way whatsoever, because none of the characters feel like who they're supposed to be. Not the villain, not the heroes, none of it. So this, to me, I have a hard time feeling even angry about it at all, because it doesn't feel like a Fantastic Four movie in any way, shape, or form. It's Fantastic Four in name alone. The powers are stupid and contrived and just basically, at a basic level, what their powers are supposed to be, except for the villain, of course, which is just ridiculousness. And like, the story doesn't feel like Fantastic Four, the tone doesn't feel like Fantastic Four, none of it. So to me, I'm just perfectly happy now that I've seen it, just ignoring this film and just, I mean, not being mad about it, not being ranty about it. Now that I've got this out of my system, it's just nothing to me. It's not a Fantastic Four movie. It's barely a sci-fi superhero movie. So yeah, there it is. There's my review It's dumb, dull, and boring, and don't waste your time. So maybe I saved you $1.50 at Redbox. I hope to God I saved you the 19 or 15 bucks you would spend buying it on DVD or Blu-ray. Yeah, just don't waste your time. Take what I had to say as a warning for you. This movie is not even worth watching. So, there's that. It's out of my system. That's my movie review for Fantastic Four, such as it is. Yeah, and I hear they're going ahead with the sequel, despite the fact that no one liked this movie, which means Marvel still is not going to get the rights back, and they're not going to be able to make good Fantastic Four movies, which is in itself a little upsetting. But, you know, we got plenty of other properties to move ahead with. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop now. I hope you guys enjoyed this, found it informative, and I'll see you guys later.